Yeah, but I'm dating in my 30s, and I'm a comic, so I'm poor. I don't have money. Like right now, my main source of income is class action lawsuits. And dating in my 30s as a poor comic has made me realize women don't actually just want a guy who's funny. Because I've met women after shows where they're like, I just want a funny guy. And then after a month, they're like, ooh, I meant a funny doctor. Meant a hilarious hedge fund manager. I misspoke. I totally forgot that I prefer yachts to laughing. One time my buddy and I, we picked up two girls. You know, we literally picked up two girls. So what happened was we were driving, they were hailing for a taxi, we pulled over, and they got in our car. And I was like, man, we should just murder you on principle. That is crazy. Were you raised in Pleasantville? Like, we drove them straight back to their parents' house and just yelled at the parents like, you did a bad job. You know? Oh, dude, I had a fun experience at the show recently where there were two people sitting in the front, and it was a girl and this dude who, I'll be honest, she was out of the dude's league, you know? And not to be mean or crass about it, but the guy was ugly as fuck and had a terrible body. So I want to see what their relationship was, right? Because maybe they're not dating, you know? Maybe they're brother-sister, attorney-client, who knows? So I asked, I was like, who here's dating? How about you two? You two dating? And then there's just a pause, and then the woman looks at me and she goes, I'm from Slovenia. I was like, you're a prostitute. Got it. Okay, cool. Yep. You're a hot Eastern European chick with a fat dude and you don't speak English? That's the plot to Taken 2. Like, yes, exactly. Dogs are better than people. I'll prove it to you right now. This is anecdotal, but never have I had a dog lie to me about having cancer so I wouldn't break up with it. Pam did that to me in college. And I use her real name in case any of you know her. So you should cut her out of your life. And I should let you know, Pam is not a Yorkie. Second example of why dogs are better than people. Again, anecdotal. Never has a dog told me it was pregnant, then when I asked to see a test, it said it tried to commit suicide the night before and had a miscarriage, which was also a lie. That's still Pam. The same person did that. That is one person. No Shih Tzus who've done that. Third example. Never has a dog done the Holocaust or slavery. That's still my ex-girlfriend, Pam. My ex-girlfriend is 400 years old and started the transatlantic slave trade. Then after the Civil War, waited, moved to Germany, and did the Holocaust. And you may say, Joe, why did you date her? Great body. That's the thing that sucks about living with an ex, too, is that, I mean, it's just like an emotional Guantanamo Bay. So, like, I had a year-long sentence just getting waterboarded by my own tears. Would have made Dick Cheney hard for an hour. You know? But that's the thing, you're gonna get into dumb fights with your roommate, right? But when your ex is your roommate, it amps those roommate fights up to another level. Where it's like, hey, you didn't do the dishes. Oh, well, you didn't love me forever. Who's that holding up their end of the bargain? I mean, you want me to pay the cable bill? I wanted a family. Well, looks like we're not getting what we want at the end of the billing or the menstrual cycle. But the other thing about dating in your 30s, if you're on a first date, a woman immediately will be like, do you want to have kids? I have to know because I have a biological clock. Like, you don't get it. You could have a kid at the age of 70. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a dick move. Like, Al Pacino just had a kid at the age of 83. Do you know how cruel that is? Just like, Gucci, Gucci, goo, I probably won't see you graduate. Ooh, most of your Thanksgivings will have an empty chair at dinner. That's why they call it menopause. It's like, men, pause. Don't have kids either. Like, oh, man. I got ghosted for the first time last year, man. Getting ghosted, that is a slow burn. Because every hour that goes by, you rationalize why they haven't texted. Like, after the first hour, you're like, well, maybe they're driving. After the second hour, you're like, well, maybe they're out to dinner with a friend. By the third hour, you start to stretch. You're like, well, maybe they're watching Deer Hunter. They're really into it. Then by the 4th hour, you're like, well, fingers crossed they're in the hospital. Because otherwise I'm being rejected, You get a text the next day just like, sorry, I was in a car crash. You're like, whew, thanks for the good news. I thought I was unlovable, but you're hurt. That's perfect. Oh, you lost your leg in the car crash? Don't know if I'm going to text her back. Looks like me and your left shin are ghosting you. What am I supposed to do, guys? I got a bumper sticker that says no fat chicks or amputees. I got to honor that. So if you're dating someone long-term, or you're married to them, right, and they get horribly disfigured in an accident, are you allowed to leave them because of that? Yes is the correct answer, 100%. Because whenever people get divorced, what do they say? It's like, oh, they change. And it's like, why is that just for personalities? It's like, yeah, when I met him, he didn't have 3rd-degree burns. Like, look, I'm just saying, there was a woman who was on Oprah. She had her face ripped off by a chimp. Her husband should be allowed to be like, hey, we're friends now. Like, I know we have kids together, but I want to fuck someone with a face. And that's fair. It is totally fair to want to fuck someone with a face. You guys are acting like what I'm saying is unreasonable. I'm sorry, if you were on a dating app and it said face or no preference, what would you hit? God, I hate performing for cowards. I don't do well being single. I'm too shy, that's the problem. Like, I never approach women, Like, I've realized when I see an attractive woman, I react the same way as when I see a handicapped person. Like, I see him on the street, I'm like, ah. Should I make eye contact with him? I don't want to treat him differently, but they make me feel different. Should I hold the door open for him? I know they want to be independent. I also want to fuck the shit out of both of them. Because if there's one thing I like, it's big tits in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? Give me that big old butt and that big old forehead. You know what I'm saying? That's right. If you're wondering why my girlfriend broke up with me, it's because I say stuff like that and mean it. People tell me I'm a 7, but if you count who I am, it bumps me down to a 5.
So, she's seeing a guy with erectile dysfunction. The thing she told me that's weird, she said the guy she's seeing that he can't get hard, but he can come, which is the grossest image I have ever heard. That's like watching a worm vomit. That's why I have friends, or dudes that are like, oh, if a girl's on her period, that's gross. I don't have sex with her. And I'm like, what? Women swallow cum. That's way grosser. That goes in them. So just suck it up. My friend did. My friend sucked cum out of a soft cock. That's hero's work. I didn't see any firefighters on 9/11 doing that.
I'm not good at being single, that's the problem, I've only had one flirtation since the breakup, and it went about as poorly as any flirtation could go. I was flirting with a girl at the beach this summer. Come to find out, she was 18 years old. Which is fine, because I'm 19. She was a junior when I was a senior. It's not weird, I want to say also, it was an accident, right? Like, I wasn't outside of a high school like, where are they? She had an adult body with an adult face. It was her fault. James, we'll cut that one. Yeah. Okay. I get the final say on everything? Yeah? Okay. Hey, the guy editing this is a big pussy. Keep it in. You gotta do it now. I've fucked the guy who's editing this wife. So it's gotta stay. His name's James. Saw what you did there. Didn't let his last name in. Here's the thing. When I was flirting, I don't want to even say it again that I did it, but a lot of my buddies, when I told them this, I was really distraught, and they were like, hey, whatever, man. It's legal. It's like, all right, But there's not a lot of ethical behaviors that you have to justify by reminding yourself it's technically legal. Like, that's how the financial crisis happened. It was just a bunch of brokers being like, hey, whatever. What we're doing's legal. Yeah. You know what they say about subprime mortgages. If there's grass on the field, play ball. Like, that's why they call them predatory lenders. Like, give me money. And also, just because something's legal, right, that doesn't make it not creepy and weird. Like, it's legal to wink at a woman while she's breastfeeding. It's legal. You can do it. But you wouldn't see your buddy do that and be like, hey, whatever, man. If there's kids on the nips, play ball. Like, you'd admonish him. Which, by the way, Kids on the Nips sounds like the worst board game of all time. Try to knock them off before they get to the milk. So my friend had a wedding this past summer, and here's the thing I didn't like about the wedding, is that his dad knew I did stand-up, and then reacted in the most dad way possible to knowing someone does stand-up. He told me the same joke 3 times. The same joke 3 times. He goes to me, he goes, Joe, you do stand-up? Oh, I've got such a, this is so funny. So, horse walks into a bar, and then the bartender says, why the long face? I'll see you later. And then he walks off like that's normal. And the other thing is that didn't tell me that joke once, told to me 3 times. I don't know if you guys know how comedy works, but the element of surprise, huge. A joke is not like a David Lynch film where you see it for the 5th time, you're like, oh, now I get it. You know. So by the 3rd time he told me that joke, he's like, I'm sorry. That's just something my golf buddy says every time we finish a round of golf. And I'm like, well, kill him. He's a bad person. And also by the 3rd time he told me that joke, I was so annoyed. I decided to annoy and offend him back. I'm like, you know, I got a variation of that joke. And he goes, oh, really? What is it? And I was like, well, some whores walk into a bar. Bartender says, why the long face? And they go, well, we're sex slaves. That's the reason for the long face. We're forced to fuck people against our will. And the money goes to the man who kidnapped us. I'm from Slovenia. And now I'm sitting with a fat guy at the Laugh Factory. I miss my family. And these scars will last a lifetime. He's like, I don't know if my golf buddy will like that.